Alrighty, folks. I'm still waiting on parts. I've ordered a master cylinder and steering, so we can't play with any of that. So I think what I'm going to try to do is actually work on the rear, get the differential in there. The plan is I cut the front off of this thing, and I don't know, I guess it was a Class C, like a GM camper at one time in its life, but I want to pull the diff. And then I guess if we do the box idea, there is a fuel tank in here. Maybe I can try. I don't know. We'll see if I go that far or not. Let's show you. So, I mean, it's a cool chassis, but you see, you can't really, you see how the floor's molded down to it? You know, like it was the option of maybe mounting the cab on something, but this doesn't have a traditional frame. So it's just basically a chunk of unibody. But going to cut off the mounts and we'll see if they're usable or not. I don't think so. I think we're going to be making everything from scratch, and we're going to be moving the perches inboard more, if that makes sense. Anyways, I got to pull this off. We're going to bring it in. What do we got? I have a box I could maybe use for mock-up, but I don't know. It's so terrible. It seems like a lot of work for nothing. But maybe we'll just set it on there so we know the wheelbase and things all look good. It's probably better off finding a good box. I don't have. It's a fleet similar to my nope, not like my Napco. It's like a 60s truck box. So this is what I have here, but you're gonna see this thing's hammered. So it might be good just to mock up, get the wheels all in place nicely and things like that. But that's about all it has going for it. I think by the time I feather body work this thing, they're better off just buying new box sides and being done with it. Anyways, I'm gonna, first things first, I'm gonna pull that chassis out, and then we're gonna figure out how to cut the springs and stuff off. So therefore I can junk the rest of that thing. And then, well, I guess we'll pull the diff out of the other truck and we'll kind of just lay it underneath there and see where we're at. Again, if that fuel tank sort of makes sense and works, maybe we'll put it in there and get rid of the big side tank. And that way we can actually do a box instead of a flatbed. Well, we decommissioned the left of that frame chassis. I don't know that I'm going to use anything. I'm just leaving my options open, so that's why I cut everything off. If it makes more sense, I'm going to use these bits. And if it doesn't, I won't. I don't know right now. Again, I know this thing's running so outboard, it's going to have to come in like, I don't know, maybe 10 inches total, like 5 a side or something, because it is That chassis is so much narrower than what this was. I don't know if this was like a stability thing or what it was. Anyways, I don't plan to make this thing like jump out that far or anything. So next plan of attack, I guess, is so I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm gonna just, well, I guess everything came apart on this thing. Maybe I'll just try to take the actual springs apart. I don't know if these things, yeah, these don't come apart. We might just torch everything off. We got to get that stupid rhino liner off. I mean, it looks cool, but it definitely doesn't stick well. Well, this was sticking pretty good, but when I took the deck off, I think I dug into this. But around the front, it gets a little bit of brake clean on it, or brake fluid, and it just doesn't stick at all. Anyways, next plan of attack here is, it's like everywhere that. I think I'm just going to torch the brackets and I'll worry about cleaning it up later. I just want to get this off so I can slide that underneath and then we can get a visual roughly where this truck's going to sit. Well, that didn't last long. Sure did come down. Got nice and wet, that's for sure. All right. So, I was trying to do the mounts all nicely and stuff. I just ended up whacking the springs because, well, that thing is never going to get used for anything else. The tire diff, nothing. It is just garbage. Anyways, I sawzalled the first one. Should have just sawzalled them all, but I knew eventually I was going to have to torch all the rivets and stuff. It is a complete nightmare to work on this stuff. This is almost like as bad as like undercoating on the floor inside a vehicle. It's probably worse. It's just magma fire happening. You can't scrape that stuff off. When it sticks on here, it sticks on like really good. And it's so thick, it's nuts. Anyways, we cut those off. So now we cut that off. I took the fuel tank off. It was pretty easy to do. So I can get a visual what this thing would look like roughly with a box. And this is, I don't have an exact measurement. I was just kind of eyeballing the chassis and see how it would look. And I guess it would look pretty cool. I'm gonna have to go to that truck and measure like the wheelbase from the cab over. I'm gonna just do that because that box is absolutely no good to bother even using, because in my eyes it's just a waste of time. For the amount of work it would take to fix that to look as good as this truck, it'd be cheaper to buy new box sides and buy a tailgate and everything, you know, like I think anyways. It wouldn't be bad if the truck looked like the white truck, then everything would just kind of work together. But anyways, this is like roughly about where I think it is, which being somewhere around here will be bobbing the frame. I'm gonna check that for sure. Like you're gonna measure the box, we're gonna go back. We'll probably just cut the back of the frame off because it looks just excessively weird right now. But the wheelbase looks good. I mean, the truck is high, but we're not all the way down. My fear of the diff hitting there, I don't think it's gonna be an issue because there's quite a bit of distance right here. Now here's where you can see how far outboard these springs are. So this is where we're gonna have to like make a new spring perch and move these just to the perimeter of the chassis. That's my plan. So I don't know if any of that stuff's any good. I'm gonna stare at it for a little while because you might be able to weld it and then gust it off of there. I don't know. Time will tell if that's worth the time or not. But I'm gonna have to cut this mount off, which kind of sucks, but like this thing has to get cut off before we can even think about where this goes. But again, got to do a little bit of measuring before we get that far. Again, I got to do a little bit of measuring before we get that far. It's, I don't know, it looks pretty good. It's going to have a decent height, kind of a big in the wheel well, but I don't know, that's kind of like big truck stuff. Could put a bigger tire on and stuff, but I mean, overall, that looks good in there. I like it. And if he's just using a half-ton box, then whatever, kind of is what it is, right? Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm gonna wait for it a little bit later, and I think we'll measure up the box and see where we're going to be putting this diff. There we go. One bob frame. Man, did we get some rain there? Jeepers. It's pretty much calmed down now. Not a lot going on. Anyways, so we bobbed the back of the frame. Now I kept it a little bit long, not much, but it's pretty much chopped down to half done. It should be a 1/2 inch frame. I didn't measure wheelbase. I just measured from the truck, from the cab back, because that's basically what we'd be doing. So I know I think it was 54.5 or something. I made a mark, and that's roughly where the axle's at. That's going to be where the axle should be, and then, well, technically, very close into that vicinity is where the box is. It's actually a little long. So technically it's about, well, it should be about here, but I think it's actually even that's a little long. And I just did a slice because I just didn't feel like unbolting that mount. We're going to deal with all this garbage yet, but it's actually not too bad because this rear mount is probably going to end up in this vicinity with that cross brace. And then this front one here is going to end up in this vicinity where this cross brace is. So that's pretty good. We'll see how it is. There's like so much room for a notch if we have to do that, being this frame's what, 10 inches, something like that. A lot. So I feel it'll be okay though, because about where it's sitting, I don't know if I have full weight on the front yet, but it's kind of like where it's sitting is kind of, you know, you want it to have a little bit of rake, because if you do anything with it, if you do truck stuff, you kind of want it to go down a bit. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's not too bad. Looks pretty good. So over in this front, I decided just to pull the rocker covers to see, because I don't know if you heard how rattly that thing is, but like this side all seems good, but this side there's one valve that's like rattling around, but it doesn't look like a push rod. So I don't know if this thing wiped a cam or what happened here. I haven't turned it over to look or nothing, but definitely this thing was making a lot of noise. And I can't see it, like it's, you know, if you go by the bolts anyways, it's like you could bury it down, but I can't see it being that far out. So, I don't know. I'm not sure to say. I mean, regardless, it needs a head gasket or something anyways, but I figured I'd have a little peek and see what's going on there. So that was as much as I wanted to do with the motor. I don't really want to do much else. Anyways, that's pretty good for now. I'm tired of sniffing this, whatever you call this, rhino line, and I got to get into there to actually cut all that junk off yet, so I'm not looking forward to that. This stuff here I gotta cut, but maybe we can slice this off. I don't know yet. I'm gonna see how this works. If this thing looks like it's in the zone, to which I can't really get it down anyways. If this thing looks like it'll end up working and we can buzz it into the middle of here, that'd be kind of cool, but I'm not keeping my hopes up. It would be nice to reuse some of the bracketry here. That would be kind of nice. Like this one, the whole box plate and the way it hangs under should be okay. I guess we're getting a whole lot of tornado warnings out here, but I don't know. I think we're pretty safe here. I can't see any of that anywhere here. Anyways, when you look at this box section, like this part here is, yeah, it's pretty much leveled up with this. We'll see if we can box in and work with this. That one we might be able to just shave everything off and then kind of weld and gusset to the frame. Hoping it'll be that simple. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna go in, have some supper, and then I guess maybe we'll be back out and tackle that thing again. Woo-wee. It is a warm one. Anyways, don't ever put that stuff on your vehicle if you ever think you're going to work on it again. I've worked with undercoating and it's easier to come off than that. At least you can heat up undercoating and you can kind of scrape it off. This doesn't work. You just have to melt it off. It sticks on there pretty good. Anyways, tonight we got all this stuff stripped off. I should have done the front, but I haven't touched that because that just sucks, and I don't want to mess with that right now because it's a lot more. I'm gonna have to somehow grind and scrape so I can actually weld this stuff on. So what I did is we got that all cleaned off. I cleaned off the scabby bits like the old box frame thing. So we have the mounts and they should be pretty nice, simple. We just like kind of bring it in, lay it in there, and then zap it to there. Same with the back. It's got a basic mount here, and it had on the truck an angle in the back. I should have maybe cut more of that, but we can do another piece in the back, and I think I'm going to gusset this and somehow cap it into the frame. I think it's kind of what I'm thinking, and probably going to try. But I've been pickling the U-bolts because we're going to have to take those off and either cut those perches off or we'll just make some new ones. They're probably just going to be inboard of the ones that are there. But it's only welded on the sides, so I don't think it'll be too hard. Shouldn't be too bad to just cut them, stick them on, kind of get everything all mocked up and into there. I feel like I just actually want to take that box off and put it on here. Even though it's just garbage, I'm just very visual. So I think if I get the box on, even though I have the measurements for the wheel, I don't know, it's a dual, there's a lot of questions. So I almost rather get the box on and then get my wheel lined up to what I think is good. And then I can zap it in. The box won't be a permanent fixture on there, but at least it gives me a visual of what, like the wheel position looks good. It's even like the front. I always put the wheel a wee bit to the front, just so it looks normal. You can put it dead center, but like I said, if you lower that thing a bit, it's going to go back, or as the suspension travels, or you decide to lower it, the wheel's going to end up further back into the wheel well, and it's just going to look weird. So at least it's a little bit forward, but that's probably more acceptable, like by an inch, because anytime you lower or do anything, the wheel's going to go back and it'll be centered. So that's just how I like to do that. Yeah, I don't feel like playing with this rubber junk anymore, so I think I am going to call it a night. We will hit it tomorrow. I don't know if we'll get it in there because we're going to have to pull that box. It's been raining like insane. It's nice right now, but everything is so muddy right now. I don't know that I can actually get at the box and stuff. So I already got my U-joint in, but turns out I got the wrong one. There's a 30 spline and a 36 spline, and I thought it was a 36, and that's wrong. So that is no good, so we can't mess with that. I might mess with the brakes, do that thing with the master cylinder like I said I was going to do. And then this we can get, well, the booster in there. I can't do the brakes or anything with that yet because I'm still waiting, and that's going to be like a week out before the master cylinder comes. So we got that. I got into the weekend for the U-joint, so that whole steering thing and brakes are a little out, so we'll have to keep playing with the back for now. But I need to take a little break from that, so I'm gonna go in and we will see you guys tomorrow. That sucks. I really wanted to get that box off that truck today, but I don't feel like getting super wet. So I think I'm going to continue on my task here of pickling these up and trying to get this stuff apart. And the plan is going to be to clean off whatever threads I can see here, and hopefully I can just hit them with the impact and they'll come apart. And then we can try to take the perches off and then come back to the chassis here and kind of clean this garbage off, or some way that we can actually mount the spring. I'm not going to do really anything with it. I just kind of would like to get those off, get the spring perches off, that we can kind of get the axle centered, and hopefully we can reuse the U-bolts, get it like suspended and like resting against the chassis. That would be ideal. Then if this stops one day, I can get that truck, I can pull it out a bit, and then we can get the box off it and pretty much lay the box down. Then we'll know like an 8-foot box for one of these things is going to be the right deal. The wheels are in the right place, all that stuff. Even though, like I said, I measured it and this is supposed to be where the other wheelbase was, I don't trust myself unless I visually see what's happening. That's my thought. So, anyways, let's bust out and see if we can get this stuff all apart so that we can put it back onto the diff, but hopefully, you know, this piece of the chassis, like, you know, kind of sitting where it's supposed to go, and we're going to start to weld things. now. It is so humid. I am dripping. I don't know how you folks in the south do it. Golly. It has stopped raining, but it's very, very, very wet outside. So I'm going to put off the box till another day till it dries up a little. Anyways, we got everything stripped off of here. Well, I don't remember where we were at. We stripped off the axle, the U-bolts. I brought out the laser, just figuring it'd be quicker to deal with diff, and then you always get distracted and zapping everything for no darn reason. Anyways, we blasted that. I tried it on the chassis, and wherever I torched it, it worked really well. But where it doesn't do it, it's no different than the torch. Like, you have to just burn your way through all this stuff. Even if you get it hot and it looks like it's blistering, you can't peel it off. So that sucks. So like in the area where this is gonna go, I'm gonna have to sit here for like an hour trying to get that stuff clean so that a guy can actually weld this stuff on. I'm finding, because the chassis is so big over the other one, that well, I'm gonna have to trim all these brackets like to a flush, like a straight cut, just because this used to hang under the frame, but this frame's so much bigger. It doesn't make sense. And if I drop this down to where it makes sense there, then the back shackle's like in no man's land, I think. Well, this side does it anyways. If I get this thing to go under the frame, it's going to put this spring at such a weird angle. It just doesn't even make sense. Like, then by the time you get that there, this thing's going to be so jacked. Like, we might play with it a little bit, but I don't want the truck like sitting like this while you drive around. So we'll have to figure this out. I think what I'm going to do is equalize the back out. We'll get this thing, because the frame does tip up back here. So we'll get this thing roughly there. Oh, is it going to be there? We might have to go down a bit more. Just looking at the spring angle there. What I feel is flush. I don't know. We'll figure it out yet. I don't know why this side looks different than the other. It's probably just in my head. I don't know, they're like the same. So I mean, overall this will work. The only thing I don't like is by doing that, that's going to put the spring into the frame. So, or not the spring, but, well, the spring, yes. There's no hang out under it, which is not a big deal, but we're going to have to blow a hole in the chassis. So if somebody had to service this spring or do something, you can at least get the bolt out. So not really a big deal, just a little hole. And then this thing we got to square up, and then basically I think we'll just end up blitzing this thing onto the frame. I don't know, I feel it'll be fine. Should be plenty strong. It's only really got an up and down deal. The back will add a bit more meat to everything, but overall I think it'll be fine. Definitely not your traditional frame swappy deal, but I don't know, I like it. I think it's kind of neat. It's really bobbed short from when it came in. It's insane. I have the other chunk of frame out here, and that thing weighs as much as a small car. That's crazy. Well, not really, but it probably weighs a lot in comparison. That whole thing probably weighs more than my frame does on there. Maybe with an axle or so. So, I think that is where I am going to leave this one. I'm hoping more parts come in that we can finish some stuff up, but we have a bit of work to do in the back yet. I'm just not looking forward to zapping through all that undercoating rhino liner. That's just gonna take a while. And make a big mess. When that stuff hits the floor, I was trying to scrape that up last night, and it's like everything I own that's had that stuff that's kind of melted, it's like everything's sticky. It's like burnt rubber, but it doesn't re-dry. It always stays sticky like tar. So that kind of sucks. Other thing, people noticed I probably zapped off the e-brakes off the axles. I realized the transmission on there actually has an emergency brake on there, so I'm not going to mess with those. If an upgrade down the road somebody wants, they can actually put the e-brakes back into those, but they were seized anyway, so I chopped them. They're out of there. Yeah, I don't know. I think that is where I am going to leave this one. Little scatterbrain, but progress. As always, folks, I want to thank you all for watching, and we will catch you on the next one. Later.